What's going on YouTube? Mr. Wheels here once again, welcoming you to another edition of Sports Talk. Welcome to my 2016 NFL playoff preview and prediction video. Before I get into my picks, I need to point a few things out. First of all, I want to say I'm not the biggest NFL fan. I watch mostly in the playoffs, and these picks are mainly my opinion, and I'm going with my gut on how I think the playoffs are going to play out. I'm more confident about the wild card games more than anything, but just take it easy on me if you're going to leave a comment. I'm sure there's going to be some people that say I know nothing about the NFL, and that's fine. I really don't care. I'm making this video because I've already watched some playoff prediction videos for the NFL this year, and they suck. There's one guy saying that the Illuminati is fixing everything. It's right in the title. It's the first video that comes up. There's another guy that was so excited that the Philadelphia Eagles might get into the playoffs that he couldn't really catch his breath. And, I mean, people take a little bit too long to make their picks. So, without further ado, here are mine. Let's start with the AFC wildcard game. The Chiefs, who are the 5th seed, versus the Texans, who surprisingly have a worse record but are the 4th seed because they won their division. Long story short, I'm going with the Chiefs in this game. I know people can go on and on about the Texans and their defense and J.J. Watt and all of that stuff, but, you know, and I know we shouldn't make too much about the regular season record because the playoffs are a completely different beast, but I'm going with the Chiefs in this game. I think their offense is better. I think their defense will hold up. I'm taking the Chiefs to win their wildcard game. Now, let's move on to the other AFC wildcard game, the Steelers, who are the 6th seed, versus the Bengals, who are the 3rd seed. And the Steelers just barely got in. They won versus Cleveland, and I guess the Ravens lost, so the Steelers are in. And the Bengals, while they may have a better record, they have a history of not beating the Steelers in the playoffs and not performing well in the playoffs. And in my opinion, the Steelers, the team that they have, the quarterback they have, Ben Roethlisberger, they've got guys that have been in the playoffs before. They are a battle-tested team in the playoffs. They haven't had much success in the playoffs in recent years, but I would still take them in this case over the Bengals, at least to win the wild card game. I'm taking the Steelers. Let's move on to the AFC divisional playoffs. So with the Steelers winning, that means they would be going to Denver to take on the Broncos. You know, I like the Steelers in the sense that I think they're a good playoff team when they get into the playoffs, but considering the role that the Broncos have been on, even with the controversy that's been surrounding Peyton Manning with steroids and stuff, Brock Osweiler, I think is how you say his name. He's a young quarterback. He stepped in and really led the Broncos for the later part of the season into the playoffs. So I really like the Broncos this year. I'm taking the Broncos to beat the Steelers. That would leave the other AFC divisional game, the Patriots hosting the Chiefs, and I gotta say, I'm not a Patriots fan, but I think the Chiefs' luck is gonna run out again because they're facing a battle-tested, proven playoff team, defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. I'm taking the Patriots to beat the Chiefs. And that would set up an AFC championship game versus the Broncos and the Chiefs, or the Broncos and the Pats, sorry. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that think that the New England Patriots are the best team in the world and they're going to win the Super Bowl every year, but, you know, they're not the team that they used to be, and even though I think they're going to beat the Chiefs, when they beat the Chiefs, that game is going to possibly go into overtime. It's going to be very close. And even though they're going to get to the AFC Championship game, I fully expect the Broncos to beat them and move on to the Super Bowl. And those are my picks for the AFC. If you don't like it, too bad. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I feel. Let's move on to the NFC wildcard. First of all, we got the Seahawks taking on the Vikings. Seahawks, they don't have, what's his name, Beast Mode. I forget the guy's name right now. He's injured. Doesn't matter, he's injured. And besides that, I fully expect the Vikings to beat the Seahawks at home. I think they're just going to beat them. The Seahawks have not been the same team they were last year. I fully expect the Vikings to beat them. That leads us to the next game, the Packers versus the Redskins. And even though the Packers are a very beat-up team with a lot of injuries, and even though they're going in to face Washington at home, first thing I need to point out is Packers started off really well, not having their primary receiver in the lineup for most of the season. That was Jordy Nelson. They started off 8-0. They finished 2-6, mainly because they're very beat up in a lot of areas on their team. I'm surprised they even made the playoffs. But the Redskins, saying all that, the Redskins had an even worse record at 9-7, and I know the Redskins have some very good players, but I expect the Packers to beat them. Again, the Packers are one of these teams that have proven to win playoff games in recent years, and I expect the Packers to beat the Redskins. Now let's move on to the NFC divisional games. That would leave us with the Vikings versus the Panthers. And I don't care if the Panthers are 15-1, and everyone's going to make a big deal about the Panthers and their record and how good they've been in the regular season. The playoffs are a different beast, and I fully expect the Vikings to upset the Panthers. And again, this game is going to be very close. Could go into overtime. It's not going to be easy for the Vikings to do it, but I fully expect that they're going to be able to. I'm picking the Vikings. That would leave us with the Packers versus the Cardinals, and this is where the Packers' luck is going to run out. Granted, they make it to this point. Given the injuries they have and how good the Cardinals have been this season, I'm picking the Cardinals to beat the Packers and move on to the NFC Championship game. And that would leave us with the Vikings versus the Cardinals. And not to drag it out too much, I expect the Cardinals will come out on top, beating the Vikings, and that would set up Broncos versus Cardinals Super Bowl. And again, I'm not going to have a long, drawn-out explanation for this one. I'm picking the Broncos to win the Super Bowl this year, to win the 2016 Super Bowl over the Cardinals. I think it would make for a good Super Bowl matchup, first of all. And I honestly think the way the Broncos have played, having to switch quarterbacks permanently, at any point during the season and still winning games is remarkable to me. I just think the Broncos are going to win it this year. That's what I think. So without further ado, guys, that's all I have. Those are my picks. Like I said, I'm gonna make some bets, at least for the wildcard games. If you've stayed with me for this long, please remember to give me a thumbs up, a like if you're watching on YouTube. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button already, I'd please ask for your support. I could really use the help. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and that's all I got. So I'll see you next time.